Aloha! Today we are making a raw green soup. This is very hydrating, very nutritive with lots of vitamins, phytonutrients, and minerals, and it's actually very simple. So to get started, we've washed our greens. Here you can see we have some bok choy, type of cabbage, some Swiss chard, as well as arugula. We also have a variety of herbs, and you can use other types of herbs, but here we have cilantro, chives, and some green onion. I also have some avocado here that will help as a thickening agent for the soup to give it more of a creamy texture. And then some other green vegetables, a cucumber and some celery. And if more liquid is needed in order to give this a smoother consistency, I have here some of our mineral-rich broth, which is why we always save the ends of any of the greens that we cut, those like hearty, more fibrous bits of kale and the back ends of different stems from the herbs that we use. We always save those because those can be boiled and made into one of these mineral-rich broths. It's actually very tasty and super helpful to add to other recipes like this one. So I'm going to start off. I've already cut my avocado, and that's going to give the base of this creamy consistency. Here I'm using a Vitamix. You can use a different type of blender or a bullet. Oh yeah, and I have salt. So we have a different way to flavor it as well. So I'll start off just putting some of the avocado in. This is a local avocado grown here on the Big Island. We have lots of different varieties of avocados. And I'm not too concerned with breaking it up or cutting it because I know that the blender will do that job for me. And I'm going to use the whole avocado because I want this to be really creamy, and also that deeper fatty consistency that the avocado gives to it not only adds really good omega fats and vitamin E and potassium, but also just makes it more filling. So there we go, we have a full avocado. And I'll move on to some of the denser vegetables. I'm going to use, this is a pretty large cucumber, so I'm only going to use part of it. And again, I'm saving the end bits for a broth to use later. So I'll just use half, and I'm going to cut it smaller so that it doesn't require the blender so much activity. Part of the use of the blender is to break down these fibers and make it more into the soup consistency. But we don't want to be blending for a long period of time, because with a Vitamix at least, that can heat up the vegetables, the contents that's in the blender, and that can kind of break down some of the enzymatic qualities of these vitamins, or of these vegetables, I mean. Right. Always good to start your cooking with clean hands, so that when you're touching everything, you know you're not contaminating it. And I'm just going to cut off the ends of the celery. Again, I'm saving all my scraps here. I'm just chopping it into coarse sections that can be broken down easily. So we have a good base to start. Next, I'm going to add some of the greens. And so I want it to have a little bit more of a peppery taste, so I'm going to add some of this arugula. They look good. I'm going to also add some Swiss chard. So Swiss chard is a unique vegetable because it contains so many nutrients, so many minerals in it. Kind of gives it that salty flavor because it has a lot of potassium in it. But also, like beet greens, it has an enzyme, or a phytonutrient, called betalain, which is very, very important for eyesight. It's one of its top nutrients that it contains. It's the second most common to beet greens in having this. And that's what gives it this rich color, same color that beets often have. So again, cutting the pieces off those. I'm going to add some pak choy. Okay, and last but not least, I'm going to add some herbs. So for this particular soup, I'm adding cilantro and chives. Kind of makes it like a fresh, summery type of raw green soup. Not only because it's cold and fresh, but these herbs tend to have that type of flavor with them. And I think the lime will pair well as well. So a little bit of chives. Perfect. So I know that this is going to need some liquid in order to break it down a bit, so I'm going to add some of the mineral-rich broth that we had made previously. We'll just use that to get started. I may need to add more. And like I said before, you don't want to overblend because you don't want to actually heat these ingredients. That looks like a really good consistency. And so that can be transferred to a bowl to enjoy. I'm also going to cut up a lime. The way to prepare a lime before you cut it up in order to get lots of juice out of it is to just roll it along the table and kind of get some of the fibers inside to break down and release their juices. Smells good. Okay, we have that. Let's see how this is. It's kind of a thicker consistency, so like I said before, you could add a little bit more broth to make it a little bit thinner and smoother. I don't mind having this consistency. I think it's actually quite tasty to have it a little bit thicker. And if you want to dress it up, just add a few leaves of the herbs that you used. A slice of lime to finish it off. And a little salt. Enjoy!